Ranger Reject Chapter 161, titled Which Yellow Is This?, is mainly here to establish the rules of this new dream world that D finds himself in. More than that though, it's for us to get to know this new Shinya as a character and to reintroduce Shion into the story. Initial thoughts on the chapter? It was great. There was a lot going on, but it's nice to just get a moment where the story really slows down to explore what's currently happening. As a reminder, before we jump in, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more Ranger Reject content. We need these videos to get boosted so that we can continue to grow this fandom. Also, make sure to check out the Panel Focus channel, where we discuss 9 great manga weekly, including Ranger Reject. Chapter 161 continues with the interaction between Shinya and D. Shinya chases D off the property line and instead of pursuing him, tells him to meet back up with him when he's off the clock. Once they meet up, they begin to discuss the situation that they're in. This interaction shows that Shinya has an understanding of the world that he's in and that he's aware it isn't real, something that we haven't necessarily seen from any other character introduced so far. There's a big difference between this Shinya and the Shinya that we know, but we'll discuss that in a bit. Basically, in this dream world, the idea is to find financial independence and retire in order to get out. The only way to do that is by getting 5 million cross, or the currency in this world. A big focus placed on that idea is how long it would take to naturally achieve that kind of money, which of course D wouldn't be okay with. Although he does entertain the idea by trying to get a job back at the office in which he was fired. D says what we all wish we could say in an interview though, about how he just wants the job for money and has no interest in the actual company. Obviously he doesn't get the job, but I love how Negi will always go back and put emphasis on the lack of human customs that D is aware of. Another example of this being that D thinking that the hirer saying he'd pray for D is adoration. It's just good. We essentially get a training arc here with Shinya teaching D how to be more human in order to get a job. The two panels that I think are the most important within this chapter are just D talking to himself after he continues to fail the interview. This can't be happening. What do you mean, reason for applying? Why would I want to work? Why work? This is immediately followed by D seeing eyes in a dark room. We're going to destroy the Dragon Keepers, aren't we? This small part just addresses the entire theme of what's been happening, and it's what I predicted in the last video. While yes, I think that Shinya is there to teach D about the reason for his existence, I believe that the scenario as a whole is to teach him that. Associating human lives and how our role is to work until we die or until we're too old to have fun with what D believes that he was born to do is perfect. We as humans don't necessarily want to work, but we know that we have to in order to survive. This is meant to correlate with D and how he believes his only purpose is to take out the Dragon Keepers. It's an amazing metaphor that I think is being used phenomenally to teach D about his purpose. Here we get into the difference between this Shinya and the Shinya that we know. Morality. Shinya knows that he's in a dream world, so refusing to break the rules isn't a matter of the scenario he's placed in, it's just who he is. A huge difference between the Shinya who is willing to sacrifice his allies, experiment, and murder. This is represented by something as simple as not jaywalking, or when he removes a sticker from a power meter because it's vandalism. These simple actions have already shown us a key difference between these two Shinyas. From this point, however, D realizes the impossibility of getting through this dream world by natural means, and he begins to think outside of the box as he usually does. First, with the idea to counterfeit money, which obviously with what we learned about Shinya, he declines that option as it'd break the law. Also bringing up the fact that there's a good chance it wouldn't meet the clear condition. This, however, leads him to the idea of copying something that they can sell to make legitimate money. Finally landing on the idea to make fake tickets for a concert and then sell them at a higher price. Here we start really getting into what Shinya can teach D, but at the moment it's only mentioned briefly. Shinya declines to take part in the scheme as well, telling D to do it by himself. D questions why not and that they could beat the game in no time, and Shinya responds with, because that's the reason why I was born. This honestly stumps me because it feels so out of context. If you have ideas about what his reason for being born was, feel free to let me know. It could be that he believes his reason for being born was to be righteous, to follow the law, to help people, or maybe the dream world was his reason for being born. It just feels so out of place, so it boggles my brain. This does lead into Shion showing back up into the story and asking to be a part of the scheme. I love the return of this duo, however, not to mention the fact that Shion himself doesn't know that he's part of a dream world. He just knows that there's something he has to do. Seeing the return of the D and Shion team is going to make this a bit more interesting once Shion starts to remember, but honestly, there's still so many questions. Will this scheme work? What's going on in the outside world right now? That leads us into the questions for this episode. Furlamas asked, do you think we are close to the final arc? I did answer this in the comments, but no, I think this is an intentional misdirection to think we're closer to the end than we actually are. Christian Bringus asks, am I going to cover chapter 158 and 159? And honestly, I really need to. Those chapters were super important chapters, and I just have to set aside some time to go over them. Simple answer, it is in the plans to go back and cover them. As a reminder though, if you have any questions, feel free to drop them, and I'll try my best to answer them based off of my understanding in the next video. Also, did you know that only 13.4% of the people watching these videos are subscribed? Hit that subscribe button and help a homie out. Otherwise, peace.